Hello Gemini, and welcome to your in-depth March 2023 forecast for the Sun or the Ascendant. I'm going to give you some standout details in some ways to give you an idea of what a momentous month this is going to be for us all. But please stay with me. I will dive deep to give you in forensic detail all the ins and outs and particular timings relevant to your sign. If you are a returning viewer, thank you so much for joining me once more. If you're new to my channel, it's great to have you with me. Please comment. I interact with all comments. This is very much a community. But also please like and subscribe. Now, of course, your ruler is Mercury, and as you come into this new month, Mercury's in the part of your situation that's very much to do with travel, publishing, international affairs, anything to do with education, philosophy, but it is in a tight conjunction with Saturn. So there could be a very important conversation right at the start of this month. But also Venus and Jupiter are in a delightful alliance as you come into this new month. But then Mercury moves on the 2nd into the part of your situation which is to do with the way you link with the wider world. And this part of your chart is really activated in a big way, because on the 7th Saturn joins Mercury, and of course the Sun already there, and Neptune, which has been there since 2012. So how you link to the wider world is going to be a big part of the celestial story in the early part of this month. But later in the month we have the spring equinox. Mercury, your ruler, makes its way into the sign of Aries, and this is an opportunity for you to link up with other people. It's going to be a much more sociable dimension as the month goes on. Mars, which has been in your sign since August last year, but in retrograde then in shadow, that emerges from shadow mid-month. That's a great news story. Venus does park up, however, in a sensitive area mid-month. I need to tell you about that. But as the month comes to a close, once more your ruler Mercury is blessed, this time by the magic of Jupiter. There's so much to tell you about Gemini. Please stay with me for more. But if you would like to understand how your personal astrology is impacting on every day of your life, if you give me 3 pieces of personal birth data, of time, date and place of birth, I can produce your life roadmap report, which will help you to get a much more intimate understanding of those patterns, sometimes the challenging ones that keep coming up, but also helping you to seize opportunities more firmly. In my special package of 30% off, you can also get your 12-month forecast, again totally unique and personal to you. Please see the link beneath this video for more on that. So Gemini, as you come into March, the Sun and Neptune are in the sign of Pisces. Now Mercury, your ruler, joins them on the 2nd, but not before getting into that tight clinch with Saturn. It is possible that if there's something of a legalistic nature that needs to be discussed, there may be a critical conversation or a meeting, but it doesn't necessarily have to be unfortunate. Yes, Saturn can be restrictive, but with Venus and Jupiter in a glorious combination right at the start of this month for the first 6 days, I actually feel that you could have a really big slice of fortune. And that old saying of it's not what you know but who you know could come back to you in a very positive manner indeed. Now also in week 2, Venus then aligns with Mars in your sign. Is there somebody you're going to encounter through your group that you find a big pull in terms of romance? That wouldn't be completely unlikely. And maybe some kind of committee situation or joint interest or hobby or just the social world could turn out to be very lucky early in the month for you. But with all this energy manifesting in house 10, don't be surprised if it is someone from a different age group or through your work that takes your fancy. But the full moon, which occurs on the 7th, also coincides with the arrival of Saturn, which is going to be in this area for the next 2.25 years initially. Now, this is a full moon in Virgo, which, like your sign, is governed by Mercury. But for you, this is house 4, how things feel. But it actually forges a great link with Uranus, which has been causing quite a lot of mischief around your nervous system in recent years. But if something is out of kilter, if you're too orientated towards your work, not enough towards rest, relaxation and nurture, and having the time to be receptive to people in the emotional way, then this full moon is asking you to realign. It does actually forge a tense angle with both Chiron and Jupiter. So if you're in a demanding role, or you have a lot of responsibilities, you're a manager or a leader, and you don't get enough time for you, there could be someone in your circle that will prompt you to take care of yourself a bit more. Don't push back, they mean well. But the 7th, Saturn moving into the 10th house, this is mighty. Hasn't been here for 27 years. If you are older, think back to what you were doing 27 years ago. It may have been a time when you did meet some challenges, but also you battled through them and gained a success. Saturn does test us, but it does give us the tools to persevere, but we do have to practice at it. So if there is a talent that you've got and you feel you're not finding an outlet for it at the moment, the answer is that old-fashioned saying, the harder we work, the luckier we get. And that is something that you will need to bear in mind. But Mars emerging from shadow on the 15th will definitely perk your energy up, I feel. The 16th sees Venus move into a more reflective area. It does actually forge a great link with Saturn. Maybe a confidential discussion with someone influential, such as a meeting, or you doing some soundings of your own, can be a good news story. But Venus does clash with Pluto at this stage of the month. Pluto just preparing to leave Capricorn and arrive in Aquarius. For you, the 8th house it's initially in is tangling with the late position of Venus in the sign of Aries, which is house 11. If there is any kind of jealousy or possessiveness around a friendship group, it could show itself at this point. But delightfully, on the 19th, Mercury pitches up in your house of friendship and long-term planning. Now for you, this is a great place for it to be. It's followed by the spring equinox on the 20th, and that ushers in Cardinal Quadrant 1 and the start of the new Western Tropical Astrological year, followed by the new moon on the 21st. But that's in a right angle with Mars late in your sign before it prepares to move on the 25th into Cancer. So what I would say is that when it comes to money and your social life, business and pleasure may not mix particularly well in the following month. So do stay very realistic. The 11th house energy of Aries is about idealism for you, but the energy of Mars is about keeping your feet on the ground and thinking about issues to do with your self-worth and balancing any hopes you have to lead your life in that principled way, which is very noble, but you have to be realistic in your aims. Now on the 23rd, Pluto does move for 11 weeks into Aquarius, but it initially forges a quincunx with Mars. That's not a great energy, to be honest. So Pluto just pokes its nose into the part of your situation that Saturn's just vacated. It's left a little note on the desk saying welcome. And as Pluto arrives, clashes with Mars, just preparing to leave your sign. So I feel that this initial 8th, 11th energy, again, it could bring up some issues around where you feel a lack of recognition financially, perhaps. Perhaps you're someone who's very supportive of people, but they don't necessarily recognise it. Can feel like that, and you could feel some anger. But Mars moving on the 25th into your second house is going to give you a platform for the following 6 weeks to take your resources really seriously, and you could actually see an increase in your income during that time. The last week also has a very fortunate, even lucky link between your ruler and Jupiter, which brings the curtain down on this month in a particularly positive way. But right at the heart of this month, Gemini, just be aware that an energy that manifested itself across all of October, November, the first week of December, that being Mars squaring Neptune, is repeated once more. So when it comes to balancing what you want to achieve as an individual against the expectations of bosses, managers, institutions, there could be a lack of clarity that you experience. Perhaps your own thinking could be a bit confused, or perhaps you encounter someone who doesn't seem to know what they're doing, and you're going to need to slice through this, but it could lower your energy a bit. So I think Saturn moving into your sector of work, responsibility, ambition and goals can start to set the platform for success. But I think immediately this month there could be a little bit of confusion or uncertainty in this area. But your friendship sector, and even dare I say your romantic sector, are definitely given some moments of magic at times this month. This is very much a community. Please feel very welcome to comment, and it would be great if you would like and subscribe.